When we think of a computer, we might think of something like this. Or this. When NASA first started, computers looked like this. This is Mary Jackson, one of NASA's so-called human computers working out of the Langley Research Center. These computers, most of whom were women, performed calculations for air and spacecraft to determine their trajectories and locations during flight. Job opportunities for African American women were extremely restricted, but in 1941, after President Roosevelt signed an executive order to prohibit racist hiring practices within the defense industry, what was then the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics hired the first African American women as human computers. However, Jim Crow laws within Virginia, where the research center was located, meant that it was much harder for black women to be hired than white women. The workplace was segregated until 1958, with the black computers working within the West Area Computing Unit, apart from their white colleagues in the East Area. Dorothy Vaughan joined the Langley Research Center as a computer in 1943 and would later become the first black supervisor at NACA, overseeing the West Area computers. Mary Jackson joined NACA in 1951, working in the West Area Computing Unit under Dorothy Vaughan. In 1958, after NACA became NASA and desegregated the workplace, Mary Jackson became NASA's first black female engineer, working with model aeroplanes in NASA's wind tunnel to gain a better understanding of airflow dynamics. Katherine Johnson also joined West Area Computing with Jackson and Vaughan in 1953. Johnson would go on to calculate trajectories for many spaceflight missions, including the Apollo 11 shot to the Moon and John Glenn's orbit around Earth. Glenn's orbit was first calculated using electronic computers, but the astronauts were hesitant to trust them until Katherine Johnson checked the numbers. If she says they're good, then I'm ready to go. Dorothy Vaughan, Mary Jackson, and Katherine Johnson would go unrecognized for their work for years. They became the inspiration for Margot Lee Shetterly's 2016 book Hidden Figures, and the film of the same name. Shetterly, whose father was a research scientist at the Langley Research Center, noted of her experience, "Women occupied many of the cubicles. That so many of them were African American struck me as simply a part of the natural order of things,